In 78 days' time, England will play their first group stage game at the 2026 World Cup against Croatia. And in this video, I'm going to be telling you my England squad that is going to win the 2026 World Cup. Let's get into it. So my three goalkeepers are Jordan Pickford, Dean Henderson and James Trafford. I feel like Jordan Pickford fully deserves it. I feel like he's been absolutely brilliant every single time he puts on an England shirt. And obviously there was this myth where, oh, he's not as good for Everton as he is for England. But I would argue he's as good for Everton as he is for England. He's just a fantastic goalkeeper, and I think he fully deserves to be England's #1 going into the World Cup. Backup goalkeeper, Dean Henderson, I've gone for. I just think he's been brilliant for Crystal Palace. Not been as good this season as he was last, but I think he's still a very capable goalkeeper, and I think he's a good backup to Pickford as well. And my third choice is James Trafford. He hasn't had too much game time this season at Man City, but ultimately he was signed to be the #1 goalkeeper. But obviously Donnarumma came in, which didn't help him at all. But I feel like the games that he has played, he has done very well in, particularly the Carabao Cup final where he kept a clean sheet and made some very important saves. So those are my three goalkeepers for England: Pickford, Henderson and Trafford. Moving on to the defenders, my left backs, I've gone with three left backs: Lewis Hall, Nico O'Reilly and Luke Shaw. I feel like all three of these left backs have been superb for their clubs this season, so I couldn't really leave any of them out. Lewis Hall has had an amazing season at Newcastle, Nico O'Reilly has had a breakthrough season at Man City, and Luke Shaw has been very good for United, and he started every single Premier League game for Man United this season, so I feel like all three of them definitely deserved a place on the plane. My right backs, Reece James and Trent Alexander-Arnold. Now Reece James, I think this is a unanimous pick. I think he's arguably the best right back in world football. I think he's absolutely superb. But also my other right back, Trent Alexander-Arnold, which is obviously an interesting pick because Trent wasn't even picked for this 35-man squad for the friendlies against Uruguay and Japan. So it is a little bit interesting that I'm including him in this World Cup squad. But I just feel like we would really miss his creativity, his passing. You know, yes, he's a right back. Obviously, your main job is to defend. But I also feel like in games where we need a goal, he's going to be very important as well. And I feel like the fact that he's not in this 35-man squad is mental, by the way. When you've got players like Jed Spence and Ben White going over him, who are just not as good as Trent. I could have definitely included another right back in there, like maybe someone like Tino Livramento. But for me, James and Trent are the two best right backs we've got. And I feel like they both deserve to go to the World Cup. And I've gone for four centre backs: Mark Gahey, Ezri Konsa, John Stones and Harry Maguire. I feel like Gahey has been absolutely superb this season for both Palace and Man City. Ezri Konsa had a very good season at Villa and definitely deserves to go as well. John Stones is an interesting one because obviously he is very injury prone, but he's very good at football. And ultimately, if John Stones is fit, he deserves to go because he is one of our best centre-backs. Some people would argue he is still our best centre-back, he just can't stay fit. But I feel like if he is fit, he should be going. Even if he's not a regular starter, I feel like it's very important to have a player of John Stones' quality in there, particularly what he's done for England in his career as well. And of course, Harry Maguire. I think Harry Maguire is absolutely brilliant. He's another one like Luke Shaw and John Stones. Just every time they put on an England shirt, they are brilliant. And I feel like Harry Maguire, under Michael Carrick especially, has been absolutely superb. He's earned himself a new contract at Man United as well. Moving on to my midfielders now, I've gone with three defensive midfielders and two centre midfielders. My three defensive midfielders are Elliot Anderson, James Garner and Adam Wharton. I feel like these three for their clubs this season have been unbelievable. Elliot Anderson has been one of the best midfielders in the league for Nottingham Forest. James Garner's been one of the best midfielders in the league for Everton, and Adam Wharton's had a very good season at Crystal Palace. Anderson is definitely going to get a big move this summer, whether that's to Man United or Man City. He'll be playing for one of those two next season. James Garner, you never know, could get himself a big move as well, but I think he recently signed a new contract at Everton and Everton fans love him, and I think he's absolutely brilliant. And obviously he was picked for the 35-man squad for this international break as well. Started against Uruguay, was arguably our best player, so I feel like he definitely deserves to go as well. And Adam Wharton's had a brilliant season at Palace, 7 assists in all competitions, and I think he's someone you would definitely want. He can pass the ball well, he can carry it as well. I feel like we need those type of players in our midfield. And my two centre midfielders, Declan Rice and Kobbie Mainoo. I feel like Declan Rice is one of 3 or 4 players who are just certainties to be selected. He's probably been the best midfielder in the Premier League this season. You could argue best midfielder in the world this season. He's playing in an Arsenal team who are very likely to win the Premier League, and I feel like he's just been absolutely superb. He barely has a bad game, Declan Rice. And my other centre midfielder is Kobbie Mainoo. It had to be. Kobbie Mainoo, under Amorim, did not start a single Premier League game, which was an absolute disgrace. A player of his quality didn't even start a Premier League game. And bearing in mind, Amorim this season at United was in charge for 20 games. Mainoo didn't start one of them. Since Michael Carrick has come in, Mainoo started every game. I don't think he's been as good as he was like 2 years ago when he first broke through. Obviously, started every game for England in the knockout stages of the Euros. Scored in the FA Cup final at Wembley for Man United against Man City. But I still think he's played very well. He's got 3 assists this season as well. I think he's performed very well, and I think he definitely deserves to be back in the England squad for this World Cup. And I've gone with 3 attacking midfielders. I feel like I couldn't leave any of these 3 out. Jude Bellingham, Cole Palmer and Morgan Rogers. I feel like these 3, it's an interesting one because I don't think either of these 3 have had like standout seasons. Jude Bellingham has been injured and has not been as good as he was in his first 2 seasons at Real Madrid. I feel like that's the same with Cole Palmer, injured this season and hasn't been as good as he was in his first 2 seasons at Chelsea. I feel like Morgan Rogers has probably been the most consistent player, I think you could say. But I also think he's been a little bit inconsistent. It took him a while to get his season going. I think for Bellingham, Palmer and Rogers, it's very much the same situation where they've been a little bit out of form and not as good as they were in their first 2 seasons at the club they're currently at. But ultimately, these 3 are too good to not have in the squad. Who will start though? That is the big question. If you want to find out who I think should start, don't forget to watch to the end and I will tell you what my England starting lineup would be for the first group game against Croatia. Now moving on to the attackers, I've gone with 2 left wingers, Marcus Rashford and Anthony Gordon. I feel like Rashford, since he moved to Barcelona, has just been absolutely superb. He's got like plus 20 goal contributions in all competitions and he's not even a regular starter as well. Obviously Barcelona got Rafinha and Lamine Yamal, so it's very tough to get into that starting lineup. He was at the start of the season when Rafinha was injured. I feel like he's lost his place a little bit, but ultimately he's still getting goals and assists, and I feel like it's a shame what happened with him in United. Obviously he is still technically a United player, but I'm not sure if he's going to play for United again, which would be a shame because obviously came through the academy, local lad, but ultimately at Barcelona it seems like he's happy again and it's great to see. And my second left winger is Anthony Gordon, who has not been amazing this season by any stretch, but his Champions League campaign has been a joke. Obviously Newcastle have been knocked out now, but 10 Champions League goals this season and obviously scored 4 in 1 game as well. He's had a very good season in the Champions League, not as good in the Premier League. I feel like he's starting to pick up form in the Premier League. He's starting to score more goals from open play. It took him a while to get going this season, but obviously he was still scoring goals in the Champions League as well, and I do feel like he deserves to go to the World Cup. I've gone with 2 right wingers as well, Bukayo Saka and Jarrod Bowen. Bukayo Saka, I have been a little bit critical of him. If any of you watched my Carabao Cup final review, I was saying that he's been, for his standards, very poor this season. But ultimately, it's the same with a few players. I feel like whenever he puts on an England shirt, he's a completely different player. Because we know how good of a player that Bukayo Saka can be. He just needs to find his form. Because ultimately, when Bukayo Saka's at his best, he's a fantastic player. And my other right winger is Jarrod Bowen. I know he's playing for West Ham and he's played there for a while, and West Ham obviously could be getting relegated. Every season he delivers for them. Every single season. Has he really done it for England? No, not really. But ultimately, his competition has been Bukayo Saka, who I obviously said when he's in an England shirt, he's just brilliant. So yeah, I feel like Bowen is definitely a good backup right winger to have, 100%. And now moving on to the strikers, my final 2 players in this squad, Harry Kane and Danny Welbeck. I feel like Harry Kane is probably the most obvious pick for this World Cup squad. You know, if we're going to win it, I feel like he's going to be a massive part of it. He's going to be the one scoring the goals. He wasn't that great at the last Euros, was he, under Gareth Southgate? But ultimately, he still won the Golden Boot. It just shows you how good he is. That was an off tournament for him. He still won the Euros Golden Boot. And for Bayern Munich this season, oh my God, ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous how good he's been. So yeah, Harry Kane, probably the first player on the team sheet, if we're being totally honest. And my final player, and my other striker, Danny Welbeck. I feel like Danny Welbeck definitely deserves to go. I don't even think it's crazy to say. He scored 12 Premier League goals this season at 35 years old, playing for Brighton as well. There's still 7 games left. He could definitely get 15, which for a 35-year-old striker in the Premier League is unbelievable numbers. And I feel like you have to credit players who are on form. You have to credit players who are on form. And I feel like Danny Welbeck is definitely on form. And I feel like out of the other backup strikers, because let's be honest, Kane is going to be the starting striker. I feel like out of the others, you got Solanke, Watkins, Calvert-Lewin, who could all definitely go 100%. I'm not saying that they won't or they couldn't, but I just feel like out of those 4 strikers, I feel like Danny Welbeck has been better than all of them this season. So that is why I feel like he deserves to go. And yes, I've only named 2 strikers, but of course we've got players like Marcus Rashford and Anthony Gordon who can play up front as well. So that is my 26-man squad, but I've also got a couple of honourable mentions who just missed out in my squad. Tino Livramento, Phil Foden, Dan Burn, Eberechi Eze, Jordan Henderson, Fikayo Tomori, Morgan Gibbs-White, Dominic Calvert-Lewin, Dominic Solanke, Ollie Watkins. Now all I need to do is tell you what I want my starting 11 to be for the first game against Croatia on the 17th of June. In goal, Jordan Pickford. Right back, Reece James. Left back, Nico O'Reilly. Centre backs, Mark Gahey and Ezri Konsa. The two in midfield, Declan Rice and Elliot Anderson. In the 10, Jude Bellingham, Marcus Rashford on the left, Bukayo Saka on the right, and then up top, of course, the main man, Harry Kane. Thank you guys for watching, really appreciate it. It was a very opinionated video, and I'd love to hear your guys' opinions on what our squad should be. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget, like, subscribe, comment down below what your starting 11 would be for our first game against Croatia, and also turn notifications on so that you never miss a future upload. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in a bit.